Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to expert session number 28 of the Evolve Commerce Club, proudly sponsored by Air Meat. Today, we have the honor of hosting my friend Eduardo Terra, one of Brazil's most renowned experts on retail transformation, innovation, and digital strategies. Eduardo has had an impressive career serving as board members for major retail companies, guiding them through the complexities of digital transformation. He authored several important works, including O Novo Mundo no Varejo, Gestão de Tecnologia no Varejo, providing deep insights into how technology is reshaping the retail landscape. Today, we'll be focusing on his latest work, Inteligência Artificial no Varejo, or Artificial Intelligence in Retail, a book that explores the transformative potential of AI in retail. So Eduardo will take us through the key trends, the ongoing conversations in boardrooms, and how retail leaders are preparing to harness AI full potential. Edu, thank you for joining us. Now, to set the stage, we always start with the same question. I always ask this question, which is the big picture. How did we get here? And then we'll get at it. We'll start talking about your book.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Is that an echo? Or...
No, it's fine. It's all right.
Okay.
It's good.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Carlos. Good morning, Gustavo. Thanks all the Evolve community. I'm very happy to be here. I'm following the Evolve community for the last maybe more than 1 year. Very happy to talk about this late trend, which is AI in retail, which I'm sure everyone is pretty much involved, right? I'm sure AI became a big trend since November 2022, which was the date when ChatGPT was launched. And after that, AI became kind of a trend. I think there's an echo for me. Is that an echo for you or no? Just for me?
Not for me, but if there's
Okay,
an
just
echo,
1 second. Let me feel say this. Okay, 1 second. I think I have to.
Perhaps it could be one of the if there are two mics on, you will hear an echo.
Okay, now I got it. Yeah.
All right.
Was two screens open. Perfect. So since then, I decided to write and publish this book, which you mentioned, right? Which is AI in retail. For the last 10 years, I've been working in some retail boards, like, for example, Boticário, which is the biggest beauty player in retail in Brazil, with more than 4,000 stores, direct selling, e-commerce. The other big retailer which I'm in is Pets, which is the biggest Brazilian pet retailer, which now is moving through a big M&A movement, which is second largest retail. So I am also the president of the Brazilian Retail and Society Association. So that's kind of my activities. So back to AI and the big picture, right? On the boards. One sentence, one phrase that I'm always telling on my conversation is that AI in retail is kind of a priority, but it's not a reality, right? What that means that on the boards, on the C-level discussions, on the C-level priorities, that's for sure something on the table, right? I'm pretty sure that most of the retail companies are bringing AI to the table, are bringing AI to the strategy, but still we can see lots of projects with big results, with big numbers on AI applications. I'm pretty sure for 2025, we're going to start seeing some of those results. On this year, I started to see some applications being done, some on e-commerce, which is a subject that I'm sure most of the people here work with, right? So I'm glad to share some of those cases, right? And AI is something that applies to most of the big challenges that retail was facing the last years, right? But one thing that is, I think, is on the big picture also important to discuss is why AI is having big challenges to move from priority to reality, right? So we have mainly three big issues. That's one of the most important chapters from my book, and it's kind of my research and kind of my practical experience, right? And this train, and we can explore on this conversation today also these three issues. The first one is data, organizing the data, right? And most of our retailers don't have their data organized. They have silos. They have on the data. They have data that is not on the right place. They have data that is not ready to use. So data being organized is the first thing. The other thing is how the IT is in terms of architecture, the architecture for IT ready for applications on AI ready to use, right? So all the infrastructure and the IT, the technology infrastructure ready for IT applications. And the third one, and I would say that most important is people, right? When I mention people, is culture, training, and skills, right? And we have a lot of tools, we have a lot of applications AI from AI that is not expensive, that you can use, I would say, in an easy way, as long as you have people ready to do it, right? So, but the landscape on retail that you don't have people ready in terms of skills. You have a lot of people that are avoiding some of the changes that technology and AI are bringing. So we need to do some projects, some changes in terms of culture, some changes in terms of skills for AI initiatives. So people, IT infrastructure, and data are the three main issues that I face it in my board experiences, in my research for moving AI from the priority to reality on this. So, Carlos, I'll stop on this big picture, and
Amazing.
I'll
Yeah.
give to you for the next question or the next
Yeah.
point.
Sounds good. So thank you for the big picture, and let's talk about then these three pillars to begin our conversations. Like um, data, IT readiness. Let's put it this way, in people, right? And perhaps if you could start giving us a few practical examples of how some companies are actually succeeding, the companies that you see or that you sit on the board, like practical examples that you see, where are they starting with AI? Because I think like I'm listening to a lot of podcasts, and I think it all starts with, well, leadership, having the right mindset and the mindset of experimentation, right? Because we hear all the time on, let's say, podcasts, content. There's a lot of anxiety nowadays about AI, where we are headed. But if you don't experiment, then you don't know. You will never learn, and then you're gonna be lagging behind. So perhaps if you could just tell us how companies are the companies that are succeeding or moving forward or implementing uh, AI successfully, that you're seeing, right? And what are they doing? Where are they starting from? Or maybe some examples that you could share with us.
Good. So I'll bring up one big first example that it's applied to e-commerce and to a supermarket chain that I share on my VTEX uh, day section this year. But before that, uh, I would say that the retailers are moving towards two directions. First directions are the quick wins, uh, trying to bring some less expensive tools, tools that are not too difficult to integrate, to apply, for example, like ChatGPT or other like ChatGPT or from Gen AI,
Mhm.
and trying to bring, and that my example is connected to this, and those first examples, they don't uh, they don't demand too much on that infrastructure, on data organizing thing, right? So that's the first avenue on bringing AI to retail results, and I'll explore that next. The second avenue, which is a mid-term and long-term uh, horizon. But I would say that this second avenue will bring big results in the future. And that demands having the data organized, having the technology more ready, right? Is, for example, bringing AI in terms of algorithms, in terms of, and that's not more Gen AI, that's pure AI. But for example, AI, in my opinion, will solve one of the retailers' biggest problems, which is this SNOP, which is forecasting, demanding, replacement, and doing all the supply and solving the problems with out of stock, with days of stock, right? For the retailers, which is the big, big problems on the retailers' ecosystems. But that demands much more uh, solutions on data and on the IT infrastructures and on people, right? So this second avenue, I would say, is more mid and long term, and the retailers are looking to that, right? So this second avenue is what I mentioned. There is more priority than reality. So getting back to the first one, which is the quick wins, right? Bringing some ready tools that it's ready to use and getting some short-term results. This example that I mentioned that I brought to my session on the VTEX Day this year in São Paulo, it's a great example, and it's applied to e-commerce. Was a chain, a regional supermarket chain in Brazil that had a challenge of getting the products that they sold on the e-commerce, right, and making the description of the products on the e-commerce better, right? So, for example, if you have a cheese that you're selling on your e-commerce, or a wine or a beer, right? The way you describe it makes all the difference in terms of the SEO, in terms of the conversion, in terms of everything of the performance that you have on the e-commerce. And that is specific chain, and those numbers they share on the session. So I'm not saying anything confidential, right? But the numbers are outstanding, right? They had people seven people doing manually, right? The enrichment of the product description, right? To make the SEO, the journey better on the product. And they had like three partners. There are a lot of partners that do product enrichment, description, and content, bringing photos, bringing videos, and bringing text to have a better product description with a simple integration of ChatGPT, the paid version, right, with their VTEX. They are VTEX, but you can do with any other platform, right? There's not a VTEX example, but in this case, they had a VTEX. For simple connection integration with VTEX into Chat, I asked it then. I made a benchmark session with many retailers with that, and the question was, well, how long did it take to make the integration? What tools did no? That's a simple integration with ChatGPT, the paid version, the $100 version, right? With the VTEX platform, from seven people that they had doing this, it became half people. So
Mhm. Mhm.
one people on staff that became doing another thing, and these people that was kept just to review was the Gen AI was
Right.
started to do. So what the Gen AI started to do was to do was before they were doing with some other tools. So the product enrichment started to be done with the Gen AI, bringing photos, bringing tests, and bringing videos, right? And the not just the costs went down. So I went from 7 to half, right?
Mhm.
So all of our audience know with the GNA of and the retail means, so 7 less people on the head count of a e-commerce strategies, a lot of uh, results. But all the KPIs in terms of the conversion, sales. So one number that he gave me, he had 500 items that never had one sale that he started to have sales just by having a product description enriched by Gen AI. So that example for me was wonderful because uh, it's a specific point on the retail strategy, which is enriching product description on e-commerce, bringing a very cheap tool, which is Gen AI. You can use ChatGPT or other, right? With a very easy way of integrating with your e-commerce platform, and you reduce costs, which is a very important issue for retailer, and you in the next month or week you increase all your KPIs from the performance on the e-commerce. So for me, that's a powerful example on this first avenue, which I call on AI empowering your results on retail. I'm not saying that's the only avenue. Uh, I'm very, I'm looking forward to see the results of that second avenue, which is the medium long term, but that's much harder, right? That's bringing data scientists, that's working hard on the data, working hard on the infrastructure, working hard on the people, and bringing algorithms, bringing more sophisticated tools to resolve other problems or more sophisticated problems, like, for example, that I mentioned, all the supply chain issue, or for example, all the transportation issue, all the
Mhm.
expansion and store opening issues.
Amazing, Edu. One of the things that I find it fascinating about this topic is, yes, the gain in efficiencies that you can have. So, for example, just take an example, like to prepare for our session today. uh, ChatGPT has become, for anything I do, has become like a really good friend and an enhancer. In everything I do. I mean, I cannot. It becomes really hard nowadays for me to write a post without um, using ChatGPT. The question is, how do you use it so you don't just look like any other person who's clearly using ChatGPT? How do you give the right commands? How do you review it properly? And so in terms of efficiency, for me, like it has created an enormous amount of efficiency, and obviously this is impacting other companies as well. The question I have is more like, okay, you can see that you had this brilliant example of this grocer, the supermarket, who's having gaining efficiencies. And how do you get these conversations going at the top? That's the first topic. Like, what challenges do you come across when you speak to the leaders that that
That's a
you're
great question.
talking to?
That's that's only one question that I get. Yeah. What do we do next?
Mhm,
What's our first move, right?
mhm,
And the answer that I'm giving is kind of what I explained before. Is that let's do two avenues, right? So I'll try to answer the way I'm answering like 10 or 12 times in the last 3 months in boards or in sessions like this or in speaking to audiences, right? So let's view two avenues. First avenue is let's try to bring low cost tools, easy tools, quick win projects that don't demand all the problems that I know that we have, like organizing the data, problems with infrastructure in our technology, or people that are not ready. So let's not do just one avenue that I know that all the complaints will come that we are not ready yet, right? That's the result will come just in 2 or 3 years. I don't believe in that only avenue, right? So let's build one avenue on the quick wins. So I expect to have results on AI in the next month, right? And again, I believe in that, and I have other examples on doing this, right? Using, for example, all the Gen AI tools, and not just the Gen AI. That example is using video, photos, and text, but you can do other things. For example, a second example, retailers are using Gen AI to perform much better on the social media performance, right? Writing the posts, answering the posts, interacting with the customers using Gen AI. Just a second example, much easier to do. We can do this in our personal social media strategy, and the retailers are doing on their company social media strategy. So that's a first avenue. The second one, and we have to do this, we need to start training people, right? And training people in different things. Just like, for example, explaining to them what's AI, what is for, that's not an enemy. One thing that is being said for a lot of experts that you're not being in the future, you won't be beat by AI. You will be beat for some professional that is knows how to use AI. So if you don't want to be beat in your career by AI, you have to learn how to use AI as a friend, as you mentioned, as your partner, right? As a co-pilot. I would say that Microsoft was
Hmm.
perfect on the name of
Yeah,
the
that's right.
product because I think AI is the co-pilot. It's not the pilot, right? We are the pilot, right?
Mhm.
I'm sure everyone uses Waze or Google Maps or their co-pilot driving, right? And that's already AI. We use this for the last 10 years, right? It's AI for driving, right? And we are bringing AI as a co-pilot for driving our business. So the co-pilot is a perfect expression of the AI application on different areas. So we need to do to think that. So in the second avenue, the companies are starting to bring training, bringing skills, and I'm saying this is for business people, not for IT people, right? Are starting to think, what do I have to do with my data in terms of infrastructure, in terms of organizing it, and let's bring a third example. Engaging customers with campaigns with AI, right? Using different channels, starting with emails or WhatsApp, which is the conversational commerce, which is increasing. I just arrived from India. Uh, Last week I was in India, which is the biggest market for conversational commerce in the world. And I saw some amazing examples using AI on the conversational commerce journey, which I have to understand all the customer journey and all the tools that I have to engage my customer using WhatsApp or using other tools that the conversational journey can have. In the US, for example, where WhatsApp is not big, I can use, for example, the iMessage thing, but I have the customer understanding that maybe the conversational commerce will bring better results than the traditional e-commerce journey, and that AI can bring me some very interesting results on understanding at what time should I talk to the customer, what avatar and what bot should I use, and how, for example, AI is solving a huge problem. In some countries, people don't text on the conversational commerce, they talk, right? AI is able now to understand what they said in an audio on a conversation and bring that to a conversational commerce journey and sell products throughout that. So that's amazing. 3 years ago, that was impossible to happen, right? So India is ahead of the world. Brazil is also doing this, but India is ahead of the world. India has 500 million people using WhatsApp nowadays. So
Oh man, it's ridiculous.
yeah, which is huge. So
Yeah.
we see this in the second avenue, and ending this answer. First avenue, quick results, easy tools, low expensive tools, easy to apply, results in the next weeks or months. Second avenue, looking to the future, having some products which is long term, like for example, bringing AI to the customer journey, to the customer journey engagement strategy, bringing AI to the SNOP strategy, bringing AI to my store expansion strategy. I need more accuracy on opening new stores. I need more accuracy on my assortment. I need more accuracy on workforce management, having people right on the right time, in the right place. So that's on the long term. For on the long term, as I said, you need investment on skills, on culture. You need investments on infrastructure. You need investments on data.
Very nice. Edu, it's a tradition here at the Evolve Commerce Club that we invite our members in because we can always get the conversation way more interesting.
Sure.
So I'm going to invite the first one, which is Hawan. Hawan is now based in the US. He has an e-commerce agency with over 2,500 customers. He's a very active member here, and for the active members, we give this benefit, to interact with the top speakers. Hawan has a question. Alexia, if you also have questions, I love you guys to jump in. I mean, Peter is the head of engineering digital products at Carlsberg. André Zanca, CINT. Vivi, who's also here, a friend of mine, she's with Portobello. I'm sure you know Viviane
Yeah,
Carvalho. Yeah, Vivi is great. She just joined in. Carol. So you're very welcome to send in your questions like we always do here. And please go ahead. Hawan, if you're there, just we're waiting. Is that the backstage or is he? Um, yes, he's joining. All right, cool.
Okay, now I'm safe. Edu, thank you very much for your time. I was making some search. I've been following you since 2016. I first met you in an event organized by Dots in Rio de Janeiro. So long time ago. And also, is what you are talking is really interesting. I've been working with AI and e-commerce for since 2018. So it's really interesting to see that for most people is like something new. As you said, it becomes part of our life since ChatGPT have been launched, but actually we are working with that for a long time. And what I see, and I also would like to hear a little bit more about your vision, is that the intelligence is artificial, but the results must be real. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. So I found really interesting your vision in the first avenue and the second avenue. I really see that we have been applying AI in e-commerce in um, ads management and also SEO, and that brings quick wins, as you said. So we have been developed a platform for SEO that, as just you said, use images to describe products, and also in advertising to optimize the return on the investments. But the next step, which I want to hear more about your vision, the mid and long term. Do you have an idea, anything that you are maybe seeing that being tested about forecasting and opening stores and the next big challenge that we have to solve?
Perfect, Hawan. Good. Thanks. Glad to see you and after so many years. And of course, you're right, right? And I'm sure most of us here are kind of AI experts. And the answer that I gave is most of the board members of the business people are not. So our challenge as IT or digital experts is to kind of bring AI or IT or digital transformation to the business, right? And as you mentioned, uh, AI became mainstream after ChatGPT was, which was November 2022, but it started in 1950, right, with Alan Turing. So it's had AI has 74 years old, right, which is my father and mom and mother age, which is easy for me to remember. So I'm 50 years old, and my father and my mom was born in 1950, which is the year that Alan Turing uh, first used the phrase the name AI. So AI has 74 years old, but became mainstream. Before that, AI was on the books, on the fiction, on
Sci-fi movies.
sci-fi books, and that. Another thing that you mentioned, and you're right, we're still seeing examples on that first avenue that I mentioned, which are more easy ways of applying AI, like the performance on ads or enrichment on products, which is the applying of Gen AI, as I mentioned in my example. But as you said, and I believe that in the future, in future I mean like 2 3 years, we will be seeing AI solving better problems. I have two examples that unfortunately I can give more details because it's more confidential. For example, Boticário uh, have a huge project on applying AI on having a high accuracy on opening stores. Boticário has 4,000 stores, right? And we have a director of AI on the company. So in Brazil, we have two companies that one is Magazine Luiza, the other is Boticário. That has a director of AI, which manages all the AI projects. And in Boticário, we have a very important product that is applying AI to have a better accuracy on where we're going to open the store, which size it's going to have, which products. And I can guarantee that we have huge results on that. And the other case that I have, which is Leo Madeiras, another board that I sit, which is the biggest Brazilian, it's a B2B, B2C retailer that sells wood products for all the chain, the value chain. And we have a 2-year project on SNOP, which also have huge results on getting better the out of stock, the planning, and the days of inventory on the company. So if you have the time, if you have the people, and mostly if you have the data to have better planning on your buying, on your suppliers strategy, it's amazing what you get on SNOP results. So in the future, I will bet for retailing on those two main areas, SNOP and store expansion, where there's a lot of money.
Thank you, Edu. Great answer. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Holland. As always, Alexia is coming up next. She's based in Romania. Alexia, you have a very techie profile first, and then you're in sales second. So
Yeah, so thank you so much. I feel like up until now, a lot of people have been talking about AI in a very broad sense. I mean, I hate that when I go to events, like AI is a buzzword everywhere, but like it's very hard to actually get some real answers on how to use AI. And there's a lot of startups using AI, like Gen AI or tools, and most of them are ChatGPT things, like automations and stuff like that. And I'm wondering, when do you feel like AI, like the full capabilities of AI, will be basically in our day-to-day lives. I mean, right now we're using some parts of AI, we're using a little bit of AI in hiring, a little bit of AI in sales. But when do you think it's gonna explode? Let's say, like, when do you think we're gonna
Perfect.
see AI literally everywhere?
Alexa, that's a great question. And to answer that, I would say that why AI became possible in terms of use now, right? And why is not bringing yet the results you mentioned and the full potential. So let's come back to the why AI became ready now. There are four main reasons why AI uh, was ready now and not 2 3 years ago. One is the quantity of data that we have, right? So we have like uh, a lot of data ready. I'm not going to give numbers because the numbers change every day, but we have data available now, the raw material for AI. And if we come back 5 years ago, we didn't have enough data, which is the raw material for AI. So that's the first thing. Second, uh, if we have the data, but we can store the data, which is the cloud, right? The cost of cloud and the capability of cloud, that wasn't possible. So now the cost of cloud it's a capability that also makes AI possible, right? So the cloud now, we are in 2024, is something that makes AI possible, right? Third one is connectivity, right? I'm talking about costs, speed, right? Connections. If I have the data, if it's possible to store, but if you can't transfer or connect the data, no AI. So again, in the last 2 3 years, we didn't have the connection ready for AI. And four, and most important one, is computer the power of the computer machines, right? And that's very important. So I'm talking about the GPUs, the CPUs, how powerful was this? And this was the most recent ones, right? The NVIDIA example, right? So in the last 2 3 years, that kind of became possible to process all this data that is stored in the cloud and is being transferred of this connection on powerful computers in the world. So these four items became AI possible in terms of technology. But what is not ready? People, right? We didn't on the last 3 years or 2 3 years, we didn't prepare the people in terms of culture, skills, to use all this. So that's where we are now, right? We don't have people ready to use all of this that I mentioned. So that's why I mentioned that AI is a priority, is a wish, but it's not a reality. So what I'm seeing is that in the next 2 3 years, so that's my answer to you. I think that in the next 2 3 years, we have all the conditions and the people are starting to study and starting to get ready and kind of swim and this ocean that is ready to use AI. And I'm sure in the next 2 3 years, we will be seeing very interesting projects that will be available because we have the infrastructure and we didn't have in the past. So that's why AI was kind of a dream and not a reality. So the main challenge is people ready to swim in this ocean that's now ready for AI.
Yeah, do you think that it's gonna be like services and everything are gonna be increasingly expensive because of the advancements of AI and how much AI will be used? And like I read the somewhere like how much water does a ChatGPT prompt consume? So do you think everything is
You're
gonna
right.
be more
That's
expensive?
a big question, right? For example, uh, 1 year ago, all the usage of power, of electricity, of AI was equivalent to a country of like Argentina. Nowadays, is already equivalent to all Europe, right? It's increasing because, for example, we use a lot of data centers, uh, cloud, a lot of water, right? There's two perspectives on this. We can just say, okay, so let's not use it, right? let's stop it. And we had those discussions, for example, with crypto and all those mining problems, which is not the perspective that I don't believe, because you can just stop people using it. The other thing, which I believe, is let's make it more uh, effective, right? So what's going on now is like let's make AI with less use of energy, with less use of water, less use of. So that's what I'm seeing in the future. But that's a problem, right? For example, with a simple use of ChatGPT, you're using a lot of water, a lot of electricity, and people don't know this, right? People just think that's a simple and innocent search for an answer. That's not, right? You're using a lot of data that demands a lot of water and demands a lot of electricity. So that's that kind of a reflection that is starting in some very small communities and discussion, but I think that's very important.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, there were so many advancements done around AI. I have friends, for example, that have studied like 10 years ago AI in university. Like they went to university to
Yeah.
basically study AI. And yeah, it has made a lot of advancements. And I hope it's going to make advancements in the right direction. And we're not going to fry our planet with AI.
Well, for example, let me give you a very fresh example, right? We are facing the world a huge challenge on climate change, right? And we know why, right? Everyone here is
Mhm.
know why, right? We made this, right? Maybe what's gonna save us is the AI, right? AI is being used to predict and to avoid some of the climate disasters, right? And we have a lot of examples with a good usage of AI. You can predict and be much more accurate of what's going on, what's going to happen, which day, which hour, which place, and avoid deaths, avoid big disasters. So that's a very interesting use of the AI to save lives, right? So that's a very powerful tool. We can use this for bad or for good. It depends on human being mind.
Yeah, and I hope it's going to be used for good.
Yeah,
All
me
right.
too.
Thank you so
Indeed.
much, Eduardo.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alexia. We have now Peter. Peter, he is yes, he's responsible for all of the engineering of software at Carlsberg. Uh, so
Perfect.
he's seeing this like on a daily basis. I don't think he can join the stage, Peter. If you can, you can just raise your hands or write me in the chat. But on the other, I will share his questions here on stage. So, okay, so it's more like, okay, in order to push beyond the enterprise, co-pilot companies need to invest in people and skills. Okay, let me just see the next one. Coding custom AI solutions require people with new specialized skills in an area that is moving at light speed. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so companies must either wait for mainstream solutions to become available and risk losing to competitors, or use external vendors or build up internal capabilities. Okay. Uh, while, oh, sorry. While at the same time identifying the use cases and investigating if AI is for use. So, a whole new breed of skills and external vendors is required. Hint to anyone wanting to create a new global AI builder company with me. Okay, he's also pitching his ideas. Anyways, I think it's more like drawing the big picture. Yeah, he's here. Nice. Okay, Peter. It's always nicer if you can join us. Gustavo, can you please have Peter on stage with us? Nicer. But in the meantime, Edu, what he's saying is, well, we need to prepare people. We need to either experiment with existing technologies or create stuff from scratch. And I think the second option is like VTEX. Why would, in my opinion, why would you create a whole new platform if you can use something that is already there, right? So
well, one thing that is interesting in terms of opportunities in the AI landscape, I think we have a lot of nice, interesting, great tools in the AI landscape in the world, but I don't think we have good or enough solutions for skills and training people yet, right? Of course, we have podcasts, we have some training courses, but for example, in my experience, right, if someone asks me, what should I do for training my people on AI and different things, I don't have the perfect answer, right? I can give you a list of 100 tools, and I can give you a list of 5 solutions for training. So that's for me an opportunity for developing solutions for training, for developing skills on different levels on the companies on AI.
Brilliant. We'll speak about the experiment you did the other day with your avatar, but let's have Peter on stage. Peter on stage. Peter, go ahead.
Yeah, hey Eduardo, and
Hi,
nice
Peter.
meeting you and Carlos as usual. Thank you for setting this up.
Of course.
I don't know. Yeah, so it's kind of a follow maybe also from what Alexia said before, which is something that I see. So I run engineering, and in Carlsberg, as everywhere else, there is a lot of focus on Copilot and AI everywhere. But what you see really is then it's like, okay, so we have Copilot, then what? Nothing happens. And there's been a lot of attempts at trying to solve various business issues using various types of Gen AI, and they sort of come back to one thing. I mean, it takes maybe a few months to implement a proof of concept. In the meantime, AI has leapfrogged 3 times as fast. So what you were trying to prove in the MVP is now mainstream in ChatGPT or something. It now has a new magical data analysis tool or something. So you're kind of you're playing a catch-up game, right? You're constantly being caught up. So I see kind of 2 main issues. I think we touched on it. One is people and skills. Eduardo has certainly mentioned that as well. If you want to create something which is beyond Copilot, you're going to need a bunch of people with very specialized skills, and they need to keep those skills relevant in an area that's moving at light speed. I think that's one enormous problem. The other problem is figuring out what can you actually apply AI to in a way so that you get back a return of some sorts that makes an impact on your bottom line in a way. So, I mean, for me, Copilot is cool, but you can't measure it on the bottom line of Carlsberg. So we need to find something that actually makes a difference. And I think we lack processes maybe, or at least experience to, in an effective way, find those use cases where Gen AI is fit for solving the problem. Eduardo, over to you.
Perfect. I totally agree. If you see Copilot, I'll be it's just a productivity tool, better than the others, but it's just a productivity tool that can bring good result, but it won't move the train, right? And on the people issue, one example that I just remembered that it's very recent that I forgot to bring, and maybe for our audience is great. And I love simple examples, right? It's a company that decided to do something. They decided to bring a budget for developing skills on AI, right? But it's an open budget. So what they did is, I'll give just for an example, I'll give a $1 million budget for developing skills on AI. But as I don't know where the solution is, right? Everyone can apply to use part of this budget with a course, with a training, with something that is related on training or skills on AI. So they apply to a specific area. So I'm doing something, right? I found something. So this course or this training will connect to this budget. And what happened is like hundreds of people started to learn on AI, on different areas, on different perspectives, on different solutions. Everyone found something different, and they were acting using this $1 million budget, right, to develop. And what happened, this was like a little bit more than 1 year ago, that you started to have from different people, different initiatives, after the people was starting to be ready, right, on small projects, on small solutions with small tools on AI. So that's something that I believe, right? I don't believe on a big initiative on training, on having skills on people that doesn't exist. I believe that people will find specific on different solutions on developing their skills, but maybe they don't have the money to do it. So you have to provide kind of a pool of money to support people to develop their skills on AI. So that's an example that for me was very impacting. So you put the money, you support the people to develop the skills on their own, and after that you start to collect results on those people that now are starting to be ready and starting to bring you some initiatives that of course will be more than that $1 million.
Over to you, Peter. Thank you. Do you have any remarks on that?
No, totally agree.
Good, good. Oh, so in short, experiment with simple stuff and then take it from there, right? I like that.
I think I want to go back to people though and emphasize that it is a whole new skill set for developers to understand how you code and build custom solutions with Gen AI. It's an area where, I mean, on a daily basis, someone posts a new framework for doing stuff. You have the major vendors, OpenAI and others, on like what seems like a monthly basis. They will come out with massive changes and new opportunities and new features. So just keeping up tends to be a full-time job. And then after spending time keeping up, you have to go figure out how you implement or solve something that your customer or your business wants to do. So it's an area where companies have to be able or want to invest quite a bit of money in the people that, implement these solutions. Otherwise, they're not going to be successful.
Yeah, and I think on that note, for example, Viviane, who's here, is a friend of mine, and Eduardo knows her well as well. She's at Portobello now. She's part of the MCIO, which is a group of women CIOs in Brazil, and I think we were discussing that the importance of having these forums, right, where you can like CIOs, CTOs, they can discuss those things, because even for you guys, you have to educate the leadership and CEOs on these topics. And so, yeah, nothing really to add, but the importance of having forums where we can discuss these cases, right, and bring them to light.
Yeah, totally agree. I think for non-technical people, I think the amount of sort of difference in how you would normally code solutions to how you code solutions with Gen AI, and understanding how to use it best and use it in a way so that it doesn't in itself drive up costs, because you can really make it expensive solutions using Gen AI because you're paying OpenAI or one of the others for tokens, as it's called. So I think it's extremely important for the business to understand that this is a whole new category of people that we need, and it's going to take a while before we have enough of them for it to become kind of self-sustaining, right? I mean, today you can put up a post saying, I want a back-end engineer or a front-end engineer. They need to know React framework or something. There is no one around that can come in and say, I have years of experience coding AI. It's a lie. It doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Well, brilliant. This was amazing, Edu. We are on 54 minutes plus the networking session. As always, we provide this stage for the experts to also talk about their services. If you want to be found, what's the best way for people to know more about how they can hire you, where they can find you, what you provide in terms of services. So go ahead and yeah, the stage is yours.
Good. Well, now I would say I don't have service to offer because now I'm just a board member. I do some speaking in some events, right? Which is, of course, that's offerable. But I write books. I take some. I organize some missions on retail, right? So I'm taking the from the last 10 years on the biggest delegation to NRF, which is in the last years was being the biggest delegations on Brazilian retailers. Last year was 250 people. So I'll be there if anyone will be at the NRF next January. I'll be glad to meet. And of course, I'm on LinkedIn, on all the social media. If anyone wants to join me, it will be very nice to be there to share ideas. And on these final remarks, I'd like to thank Carlos, Gustavo for the invitation. Very nice. I love to talk about AI. And as I said, it's something that we that are more experts than the business traditional people, we have this mission to bring AI to the business and to explain how this can move the world and the business.
Appreciate it, Edu. Appreciate you all today here. So that was expert session number 28. We are on our personal quest here of connecting the commerce ecosystem and hopefully also making a difference in how we help leaders also with the education from the very best and from people who live and breathe this on a daily basis. So thank you very much, everyone, for your presence today. Edu, thank you once again. I'll catch you, in the other room. And in the meantime, we'll see each other next week. So see you all. Thank you. All right. So